Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Zach Young, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're joined by Tim Kilroy, agency growth coach and founder of Build Your Agency Better, where he helps marketing, SEO, web development, creative, and digital agencies fix what's broken, build smarter growth strategies, and create businesses that generate more revenue, profit, and happiness without founders being trapped in execution. With more than 2 decades of experience running agencies and coaching agency owners through challenges from first clients to maximizing exit value, Tim brings a no-nonsense strategic approach to systemizing sales, marketing, delivery, and leadership for lasting business health. Tim, a very, very warm welcome to Founders Future.
Well, thank you. And God, that sounds like really freaking formal. That was I feel like my mom and my accountant wrote that. Yeah.
You like your mom and accountant though.
My accountant, they tell me bad stuff all the time. But my mom, no, she was okay. She was aces in my book. So
perfect. Tim, pleasure having you on, my friend. It's gonna be a great episode. We have a lot to dive into. Before we do, I do like to start with your background though. I touched on it a little bit in the intro, but before agencies, before growth coaching, can you walk us through what were you doing previously and what was really your inspiration to get into this space?
So I'll tell you, I had a varied career before I got into digital marketing. I was a high school teacher. I sold stuff for Bose, the audio company, which stands for Better Off Somewhere Else, by the way. And sort of wandered around, worked in retail at the Sharper Image, managed a bookstore. And then a friend of mine I worked with the Sharper Image went during the .com boom way back when, went to California and said, "Hey, I need somebody who can do this." And I said, "I don't know how to do this, but I will figure it out." And that was in 1997. I started doing digital marketing. And then I was a victim of the .com crash. So I was greeted on January 2nd of 2001 with a, "Hey, you're fired," memo. And I had just bought a house with my wife. And I thought, holy moly, I got to get a job. And I tried getting a job, couldn't get one. So I very, very inadvertently became an agency owner. Like totally, not planned, totally reaction. And then it turned out that I was pretty good at that. Though my first agency, I must say, I scaled that thing. And I was so stupid. Like really, I could be the dumbest agency owner ever because I didn't have a mental model of how a service business worked. I didn't have a mental model of what an agency really did. I just knew that if I could get somebody to say yes around something in sales and marketing, I could figure it out. And so that's what I did. I said yes to all sorts of stuff that I shouldn't have. And I was the bottleneck in that. So it was the total hub and spoke model where nothing happened unless I touched it. And that it killed me. Like I flew that thing into the side of a mountain because I was so busy and so disorganized and so over my head that I didn't do things like send out invoices. So we ended up in this we'd send up in this huge cash crunch because there was a handful of clients that I hadn't billed in a year. Like I thought it was all happening and it wasn't, and I was just too dumb to know what I didn't know. And guess what happens when you send somebody an invoice after a year? They don't pay it. No, they don't. And so I crashed that super hard. It was ugly. We had to call in FEMA. It was gross. My wife still talks about that period after the agency crashed, and I had to go get a job. And after having run an agency for 4 years, I realized that I hate having a job. So I thought, well, crap, I'm going to start another agency. So I did, and I was a lot smarter this time. Scaled up, and then there was we sold to a larger agency. Stayed at that agency for a couple of years. Left. Couldn't work in the agency world for 2 years because of that's back in the when non-competes were enforceable. And then I started another agency and scaled that up and sold it. And then after that, I thought, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. I've done that 3 times now, and I know how to do that. It's not that much fun for me. And so I tried doing other stuff, and then a friend of mine said, "Hey, you seem to be pretty okay at this agency stuff. Would you help me?" And so I said, "Okay, I'll coach you." And then all of a sudden, as soon as I started coaching her, like the sun came out and there were bunnies everywhere. There were rainbows. The birds were singing. And I thought, holy guacamole, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And that was in 2018. And I haven't stopped because
Hmm.
at this point, I think I'm inconstitutionally capable of doing real work and can only coach
Hmm. Well, you
because
put in your time.
I, for 27, I look so bad.
Tim, you've been through the ringer in the early career, right? I gotta ask, when you went back for the second agency after the first one, what did your wife think? Did she try to talk you out of it?
Um, well, my wife is a lovely woman. She's amazing, but she does not hold back ever. And so there was a lot of, you better know what you're doing this time, idiot.
It's a little
Um,
extra motivation.
yeah, and it was, you know, and I was so much better at running an agency because I was so afraid of making the same mistakes. And every time I thought, you know what, I can do this better than somebody else. I thought like, uh-oh, danger, danger, Will Robinson, danger. That's don't do that anymore. Um, and and it was really such a difficult journey for me to not be in the middle of everything. It was really hard because that's my instinct. My like that's like because I have ADHD and you know low impulse control. Like I want to like do everything because that's fun. It's like doing everything is awesome. But then I realized that there's a couple of words that will totally kill any business, and especially a service business. And they are, never mind, I'll do it. And that used to be my MO, which was, if something is wrong or it's broken, I'll fix it because I know how to fix it. And a huge part of learning how to be a CEO is turning that impulse of like, I know how to do this and I want to touch all the, I want to touch all the Legos and build the Millennium Falcon. You you have to learn how to get your joy from helping somebody else realize their mastery over the Legos so they can build their own Millennium Falcon.
Mm. Then you
Uh,
can become a true owner of your own business.
yeah,
Finally.
it is an impulse I still fight to this day. Like just before this call, I was editing a document and finding stuff like somebody like there was a the wrong year was on the copyright thing, and I just realized like, wait, why didn't I just send this back? Why did I jump in and fix it? And I thought, it's because you're an idiot, Tim. Like you like that was not worth your time. And so for a lot of us, this is something that you have to continue fighting, because the best part of being an entrepreneur is like isn't the freedom or the self-direction. The best part of it is helping other people get better.
Hmm.
And so, instead of fixing that stuff today, I should have said, "Hey, contractor, we have a QA process here, and I know you have it. So can you do me a favor and look through the QA process and make sure that you nailed all the pieces, and if you're having trouble, then come back to me." That's what I should have said.
Hmm.
But instead I was like, "Oh, screw this." I like and and so I spent like 20 minutes doing something that I had already paid somebody to do. Like, what the hell? Like, in what world does that make sense? And
Mm.
I find that my clients do that all the time.
Yeah.
It- Especially when it comes to sort of client management and sales. Those are the two
Got it.
places where where it is so hard for agency founders to let go.
Hmm. I think that leads us very well into the present day, right? We
Yeah,
touched a lot on the past. And I mean, I'll just be honest. You've been in the agency game for longer than most agency owners that I've had on the podcast
have
dead
been
or
alive.
alive.
Yes.
Yes. So I got
Yeah.
to tap into that. So Tim, could you walk us through, the work you're doing with your clients today? Specifically, what are you going through with them on a weekly, monthly basis, helping them get better?
Yeah. So it really depends on what stage they are. So early stage, I have a group called Agency Kickoff. It's a group coaching thing. And that is a lot of repetition around, are you talking to the right people? Are you listening to what they say? Are you giving them an offer that makes sense? Are you leading them through the process? And that's just sort of the basics of, this is how you treat a client. This is how you treat employees. And the folks in that program are all incredible. They're ambitious and young and when I was their age, like I was lucky if I got to work with my pants on. And these like and I have a client who's 21, I think. He might have just turned 22. And he's doing like 80 grand a month. It's him and like four people in the Philippines.
Hmm.
I'm like, what the like when I was his age, like really, I was only interested in getting drunk. So I don't know. Like I don't know how it's crazy. But for most of the agency owners that I'm working with on a weekly, a daily, monthly basis, what I am really forcing them to look at across mostly sales and marketing parts of their business, like marketing their own businesses, is, are you the best person to do that? Or are you just the person who is the most afraid of it not being done the way you would do it?
Hmm.
And every time the answer is, I am the person who is most afraid of it not being done the way that I would do it. And it doesn't actually matter if that way is better or more effective. People get, especially founders, get stuck in thinking that because it's their business, because they have invested their heart and soul and money and time and love, into it that the way that they think about their business in its current state is the best way. And that is rarely the case.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
do you know who Larry Kim is? He's a guy who started a company called WordStream, and now he runs customers.ai.
mm,
He wrote this blog post a million years ago called you in order to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be delusional. And it's true. Like you really have to think like there's entropy everywhere in the universe, and somehow I am smart enough and capable enough to turn entropy into order and order into profit. That's a fool's errand for most of us.
mm,
So you have to be a little bit delusional, but what happens for founders often during their delusions is that they get overly invested and overly connected to, their identity becomes the business. And what they really have to learn how to do is let their identity be running the business. And that's different. And so
mm,
thinking about, what's the most effective way for you to manage that rather than to do it. And that's really hard because management is a completely stupid and difficult thing to learn. No, like I don't, except for one person, um, Abby Stone. Maybe she's listening. She's awesome. She was the only person I've ever met who I thought like, oh, you are a natural manager. You just understand people and you can see their motivations, and it's very easy for you to say, oh, I'll present it this way and it will make sense to them. That's probably the only person that I've ever worked with who has just been completely a natural manager. Everybody else has to learn how to do it. And nobody, absolutely nobody, knows how to be a CEO the first time.
mm. So you're teaching a lot of the agency owners you're working with to do this, to
Yeah,
step into that
yeah,
role.
and honestly, like that's what they get out of it. We do it through like learning how to do sales better and learning how to do tracking better and how to, and learning how to do marketing and presentation better, how to do customer onboarding better. But really, all of that stuff, the end result of that stuff is empowering their teams to do more and to do better and to own the process and to own the results and own the outcome. And and when we are able to do that, the founder realizes, oh, yeah, so I don't manage the clients or the business or the people. I manage these business functions. And each one of these business functions has a leader to it, someone who's responsible for it.
Mm,
And sometimes in the early stages, sometimes that business function is run by you. But the whole point is to not have you run the function so you can more effectively manage the function.
yeah, you're building a real business
Yeah, it's
that
such
just
a
doesn't
it's
rely on you.
yeah, it's so it's like and this is dumb. Like intellectually, it is not complicated at all. It's emotionally complicated. It's around identity. It's around fear of failure. It's around lack of confidence in your own ability to communicate. Like it's weird. Like you meet entrepreneurs and they are like they've got swagger and they've got vision, they've got excitement, and I am pretty sure that underneath every entrepreneur somewhere is some voice saying, hey, you fucking suck. This is all coming crashing down on your head in the next 20 minutes. And I
Mm,
think, and by the way, I don't know if you have an explicit rating on your podcast. You do now. Congratulations. Um, but I think, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of work to because you never get rid of that voice. Like every person on the earth has that voice.
Hmm.
But if you are an entrepreneur, you have to and if you ignore that voice, it will come out in weird ways and kill your business because you'll do stuff like be too busy to send out invoices. Um, but
Tim, let me ask you
you have
this.
to listen to it, but not honor it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you've been hearing that voice for a long time now. How did you personally deal with it and come to grips with it?
It was in the period after my first business crashed, and I was stuck with a job, like going, and this was back when people used to go to offices. And I would like commute into Boston every day, and I'd go up an elevator, trapped in this elevator with like 14 other people going to the same office, and I'd go sit in a cubicle. And I thought that was just so awful, just so bad for me. For me, for some people, it's awesome. Like really, there are people who are like, I love being part of a team, and I just want to be doing the work. And I'm like, I know this is just this. I felt it like it was an assault on me every day, and so I was from day one. I was thinking, how can I make this stop?
Hmm.
And then I realized, well, Tim, you make it stop by making something that doesn't crash into the side of a mountain. And so I had to spend a lot of time working through what I did wrong. And like really, and this was I've worked with a therapist and with my ADHD coach to like figure out like what's the stupid stuff that you did that made this success because we had plenty of revenue, but we had no management, no structures. It was just somewhat disaster. And and I realized like, oh, this is all stuff that I took on that I never should have taken on ever.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, I was writing contracts. I mean, that was okay because I went to law school for a year and I got an A in contracts. So I know how to do that. But like I was doing the books and like filing taxes and all that bullshit. And it's like it was such a bad fit for me because I thought that I had to do this stuff because I was the only shareholder.
Hmm.
And I didn't really, and I was responsible for these 12 people or 13 people that we had working at the time. And I had to do all that stuff. And I just wasn't smart enough to say, you know what? This thing that you were terrible at and the thing that you hate doing, so you avoid doing it,
Yeah.
for somebody, that's their freaking favorite thing in the whole world. And it's
You learn.
really just remembering that the world doesn't work like you do.
Hmm.
And so you really have to be aware of, where your rough edges are and make sure that you compensate for those. That's in the early stages. And then in the later stages, as you get bigger, it's realizing that the business is not about you at all. Like as soon as you get to, I would say by the time you get to like 5 employees, 5 people working for you, it's not about you. Like you should never be thinking about what this business means to me. You need to be thinking about what do I mean to this business and
Hmm.
figuring out how can I make myself better so these people that I have cared enough about to invite into my vision and that I trust enough to give them money every 2 weeks, like how do I make their life better? Because they are my toolbox. They're the thing that makes the business go. Like I'm just
Hmm.
here saying, hey, you know what? We've got a bunch of chisels. We should stop trying to be hammers.
Tim learned through the fire so your clients don't have to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, my clients should be really thankful that I am such a slow learner.
But you're sharing it with them, which is what matters. Tim, time has
Yeah.
flown by. A lot of wisdom has been shared, a lot of value to the listeners, quite obviously. Where can the listeners find you? Where can they connect with you online?
TimKilroy.com, or you can subscribe to my newsletter at www.agencyinnercircle.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn, which is where you found me. So I'm not hard to find there.
Yeah, it's a good place to find them. Tim, pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much, Zach. It's great.
Absolutely. And that will wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Feature. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go and connect with Tim on LinkedIn and his website. Subscribe to that newsletter as well. All of those links will be in the show notes and description down below. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're looking to scale your business, and you really want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we went from 0 to 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.